A very good morning to all the viewers, especially the chartered accountants, cost accountants, other professionals, and my dear students. As a professional, what differentiates us from business people? It is certain values which we have, which are much more necessary. Some of the important values which define a person who is a professional are set out in the ICI Code of Conduct. Let's look at what they are. What are the qualities which are there, which have been set out in the ICI Code of Ethics? First thing is objectivity. Second is independence. Then there is professional competence and due care. If I am having all these, I can be said to be discharging my duties professionally. What is objectivity? Seeing things as they are, as they truly are. Therefore, we need to be impartial, and also we cannot accept information at face value. Today is a day of superficiality. Last few decades, superficiality has become the norm. So we have to look beyond the superficial. What is just visible, it may not be correct. We have to look deeper. With professionals, we have to exercise skepticism. Skepticism means it's part of my job to not accept everything as it is. I have to look at it, ask a few questions, then only I can accept that proposition. I should not get influenced by different people because of their status. A client, for example, or the owner of a business, he need not impact my objectivity. I should not get influenced by him when he says, this is it. I know my business and this is it. One of the ways in which we can see that we don't get detracted is to follow standards. If it is accounting, then maybe we have to look at Ind AS or IFRS. If it is auditing, we have to look at auditing standards. If it is internal audit, internal auditing standards. When we adhere to the standards, objectivity is automatically ensured. So, is it easy? Let's look at issues faced during audits. The client does not give enough information. If he doesn't give enough information, we cannot express an opinion. We have to disclaim it. We have to say we do not have enough information to give our comments at all. This is called a disclaimer. Sometimes there is not sufficient information. It is a bit less, but I can still give an opinion. I can still mention that information was not complete. Sometimes the client would possibly like to change the state of affairs. For example, say his stocks are in reality valued at 10 crores and he gives a inflated figure of 40 crores. Now, you may not have the capacity of valuing it, but you feel when you do the audit that it seems to be something incorrect. Then once you feel something like that, you have to extend your audit and look at, okay, what is it in the valuation which may not be correct? Is it the quantity? Is it the value per piece? What is it that is not correct? You have to extend your verification. Then only you can be said to be objective. You don't simply accept what the client says. Sometimes changes are there in the accounting policy. The way in which I value the stocks can be changed from lesser of realizable value and market value to only market value. So then suddenly there could be a change, which means that stocks could be overvalued once somebody proves that the market value of that stock is so and so. Sometimes that concerns are actually in big trouble. They cannot continue. They may not exist after 1 or 2 years. In case it is so, then when I am doing the audit, I have to bring it to the attention of the shareholders that this concern is not a going concern. And if it is not a going concern, the entire way in which you look at audit, the way in which you look at debtors realizability, the way in which you look at what you will get for a business when you suddenly want to sell it will be totally different from when it's running very well. Goodwill will be almost zero. The distress sales will take place where you have no control on the amount of discount you have to offer. So once we have some doubt about the future working, profitability and existence of the concern, a lot of changes will be there, and therefore there we have to become very objective. It's not only in audit that we need to be objective. Advisory work also requires us to be objective. And there are quality standards everywhere. ISO 2700 is there for consultancy. Like that, there are standards which are applicable for many areas. One of the latest changes which have taken place, which is relevant for us today, whether we are in audit or we are in consultancy or advisory services, is that large data is coming now. Everything is on the cloud. We are not able to look at physically entered data. Everything looks the same. Artificial intelligence has come, which can help us in looking at many things. For example, you have ChatGPT, where a 100-page document, in seconds, it will summarize it into a 10-page document. If I don't know ChatGPT, I don't know those capacities, then can I do the work? Maybe I can, but I won't be efficient. Maybe I can't also if the volume is too much. Therefore, we need to adopt and learn data analytics and artificial intelligence and embrace it for our future, whether it's audit or consultancy. Business consultancy has become more and more important now because information is available at a click of a button. A professional needs to have an idea about everything, maybe a few things he needs to know deeply. The medium and small scale companies, whether they are traders or whether they are manufacturers, service providers, they are today required to be very competitive, and they cannot spend time or money for different people, different professionals. They want one-stop shop, maybe a virtual CFO. Now, if it is so, that's what we should also aim to do. One more quality which is very important for a professional is he has what we call independent thinking. And what are the advantages of this objective and independent thinking is it enhances credibility of all the stakeholders for documents which are signed, like an audit report or a valuation report. If it is signed by so and so, yes, then this is the weight I can give it. It is correct. For example, when our office does the audits or review of GST, it is expected that hardly any errors will be there. And we have been objective. We have not hidden anything. We have told the clients these are the things to be rectified. And since we have done that, the value of that report is very high in the eyes of our clients. Audit has been done by so and so, and therefore it is reliable. In case the department comes, in case even the investigating department comes, They can say our audit has been done by so and so. And then the investigating department or the government department who comes with a thought that there is something amiss will take cognizance. Oh, it has been done by them. We know them. They don't encourage, they are independent. So there's a lot of credibility with the department. It also ensures that trust is built. Remember, in profession, trust is key for everything, whether it's an audit or a consultancy. Independence also increases the value of every professional, of his self-worth. Once you are independent or you have given an independent opinion, the company, the client can clearly make a reasoned decision. And once independence is there, it always demonstrates impartiality. That means it demonstrates that the person has not got conflicted. Let's look at that. What are the potential conflicts of interest? Sometimes self-interest. I have only two clients. 50% of my fee from one, 50% of my fee from another, or 40-60. Can I be independent? Because if one of them goes away, my livelihood can be at stake. So the financial ties to each client should be less. Normally, it is said that it should be less than 5% for every client. But in the starting, it may not be easy, but over a period of time, you can ensure it. Self-review. It should not happen that I myself check my own working. For example, in GST, I am doing the accounting for my client. And then I also do his audit. Not possible, because if I'm doing his accounting, then I take certain decisions, I make certain assumptions, and then I myself am supposed to check it, verify whether it is correct, which is not possible. It will lead to self-review. Review always has to be done by third party. Advocacy. This is also something which happens to some of the professionals. They get overly involved in promoting the client's view. We have to be independent. We can't keep saying what the client is saying is the right thing. We can't take the client's sayings as our sayings. We may agree with the client saying, that is a different matter. Advocacy is promoting the client's view everywhere. Then even the judges who listen to you, the adjudicating authorities, the appellate authorities who listen to you, they know that you are promoting the client's view. You are not telling your view. Then they will have less confidence in you. Whereas if you are not, if you are known to be independent, the judge will say, okay, so and so is independent. He is not overly promoting the client's view. Therefore, I can rely on what he says. I need not check each and everything he says because he is independent. Sometimes we allow familiarity, maybe 20 years, 30 years, client is the same. I go for his child's marriage, I go to his house functions. I basically become his family friend. Nothing wrong in it as such. But then in such cases, I should not certify things because it will be difficult for me to say something against him. So I should not take up jobs where my independence is required to be asserted. Intimidation. This also happens, especially in corruption prone areas like the cooperatives in India, where the appointment of the auditor is by the cooperative society, which is managed by some powerful politicians or powerful landlords. So then how can I do independent audit at all? If I pull them up, then I will be removed from the audit. I'll be threatened. And this is not a joke, what I'm telling. It is true. So see that you don't get into all these potential areas of threat or pressure. Pressure could even be that we will remove you from the audit. We have faced this when we were doing the GST audit a few years back in a group in Delhi, where the group CFO told us that after doing the work for 1 month, he said that I don't want all these caveats to come. So we said it's not possible for us because the report requires us to give comments on these. He said, no, whatever it is, I don't want any of these comments to come. Please give me a clean report. So we said no. And then he said, I will not give you your fees. So we said, it's okay. And he said, no, I don't want your report also. I'm removing you from being the auditor. I will select somebody else. Even then we said, no, we will not do. Of course, it so happened that this matter got escalated to the directors who asked us to complete the audit. And as expected, we did no work for the group after that. But we didn't allow the conflict. We were independent, even though we were going to lose a substantial amount of fee. That is what can be the pressure which is there, especially for anybody who issues an opinion or does an audit. So how can I ensure that my competence is up? We have had a look at objectiveness, independence, and now we are looking at competence. Competence means knowledge, skill, and something more. So one has to stay updated. For example, even right now, just before I recorded this, I was going through a report which is generated in our office of the learnings in the period across each of the locations. So we come to know what are the learnings we have. And sometimes it surprises even a person like me who has been in the profession for 35 years. I learn there. I'm updating myself. Sometimes skill updation is required, like I was mentioning on data analytics or artificial intelligence. What about general business knowledge? General knowledge. What is happening around the world? What is the impact of Trump coming to power? What will happen if China tariffs are put against China? Then I need to know about business. What is happening? Since I'm a professional in the financial world, I need to have a look. Maybe Business Line, maybe Financial Express, whatever the financial knowledge base I have to keep reading it. All this is required for assignments. What about the subject? I should know the subject. If somebody asks me to do a GST review, I should know all the provisions of GST, the latest changes, the latest case laws. I should know all of them. What are the other risks which are there where my professional competence can be tested, or it may not be, it may be proved that I am not competent. Always today, I have to be aware of what is the automation possibility. Client may have adopted automation without checks and balances. That means there'll be a lot of errors in the system. Some figures may be totally unreliable, or he may not have adopted any automation at all. And therefore it is going to be very cumbersome. Everything I need to verify will take a long time. Ignoring the information system which is there behind it. Nowadays, everything is decided by the ERP. What if the ERP has a snag? What if it has a glitch? What if it has been manipulated? Should I not find out that the information system is reliable? If I am not competent, should I not insist that it should be IS audit has to be done? Today, with cyber threats coming, companies who are vulnerable even get cyber audit done. Do I give promises beyond my capability? For example, a company comes and says, Madhukar, You do the tax audit also. Anyway, you're doing GST audit, do the tax audit also. I should not say yes for that because I don't know income tax. Or they may say, why don't you do the company audit itself? But I can tell them, no, sorry, I don't know company law to the extent which is required. I don't know income tax to the extent which is required to certify. I may do this. I may agree to this because the client says, how can I give the job to 3 people? I would like to give it to somebody who can do all 3. Then I should say, please go ahead, go to somebody else. I have also seen nowadays that the internal control seem to be loose. The focus on internal control seems to be going away. It is sacrificed for efficiency. Let's not have too many controls. Let's have speed. Let's increase our turnover, which is all good, but without compromising the controls. Otherwise, there can be a big fraud which will happen and everybody in the organization will be at loss. Credibility loss and also loss of job, loss of practice possibilities. Never take assignments outside expertise unless you are networked with people who have that expertise. Practicing due care also requires diligence and attention to detail. Remember, we are not here to just sign off. Some of the common compromises which happen is you rush the work, finish it off fast because I have to finish this audit by Saturday. I have to sign off by Saturday. There's a board meeting coming up on 10th. Therefore, you have to finish by 5th. Sending unqualified or untrained staff. Sometimes it ends up that we send staff who do not have adequate knowledge or adequate training. This may happen due to so many things. It can happen due to time pressure. It can happen due to low fees. It can happen due to pure negligence. Remember, all the jobs we do, it requires some supervision, some monitoring, some preparation, which has to be done at the starting planning. Some basic planning has to be done. In fact, in India, we have this habit of immediately starting the job. If you look at some of the best practices which happen in advanced countries, they spend 15 to 25% of the time in the planning and the preparation. Then they go and do. We may spend a few percentage, which means that we spend very inadequate time in preparation. And we may not supervise. If we don't supervise, the work may not be up to the mark. Therefore, we cannot be said to be practicing due care. Sometimes we don't give time at all. We say, okay, complete it today, whatever happens, sit late and do it. So the work can be negligent. Everybody wants to go home. Maybe they'll sit 15 minutes. Maybe they'll sit 1 hour after they go. After that, they just go. It could also be that there are a lot of red flags which are there in the notes, which we have not followed up because of lack of time. Remember, all this will lead to proving that we have not practiced due care. This is where you hear of even large firms paying huge penalties in millions because they have been negligent. What they should have done, they have not done. Due care is very important, especially for us professionals. What happens if we don't do this? It can lead to disciplinary proceedings. It can lead to loss of credibility for us. Automatically, it will lead to loss of clients. Or it will lead to loss of good clients. After that, only the shady clients will come to us. So if we uphold objectivity, are independent, competent, and we have due care built into our practice, it will lead to credibility and long-term success. Thank you very much for a very attentive listening. I am not a big expert in this, but I thought that this article or this video can give a bird's eye view of this very, very big subject. Thank you very much again.